The cover crops that you raise, I want to get back to the crops. Do you have, say, set ones that you use, or do you use this rotation, the same rotation on every field?
Okay, we should probably divide cover crops in two categories. In the livestock situation, we would normally seed a legume of clovers and alfalfa and grasses with the oats. And so we have covers that way that would be spring seeded in the spring. And then the ground would be covered that year. It's in oats, and then its ground's completely covered, solid seeded for the next year in hay. So we have solid seeded covered for 2 years out of the 5. Okay, now we've got these 3 years of corn, beans, and corn on ridges, and then we were working with fall cover crops. How do we get fall cover crops to work in Iowa where the season's shorter than it should be? And we've struggled with that. That's a hard one.
Because of the short season? I'm sorry.
Yes, to get enough growth, to get enough nitrogen, to make it worthwhile, to pay for the seed. And so we've been using broadcasting with airplanes, high boys, and all these kind of things to do that. And the economic net has not been the best. So we have gone now to trying to drill a cover crop after harvest, and putting just 2 rows of rye is one that we would use following corn. And then we would use oats and hairy vetch combination together to follow soybeans after harvest. So that's where we're at. We've got to get this down that we can make some money at this, control the weeds, help hold the nitrogen, and control erosion without getting ourselves in trouble. Because when it gets dry, if we got too much growing out there, it takes nutrients, it takes water. So like most everything else, when people move, say we've got this black field out there, and they don't like that. So then we move all the way to the other extreme and try to grow a forest out there that we don't know how to handle, and it takes too much water. So again, it's balance. How can we make this work?
When you said it was economically not feasible, did you mean it was just too expensive to plant using an airplane?
That cost, and using too much seed, it was too high priced. We've gone to raising our own now.
Oh, do you?
And then the other thing, that if we got too much on, especially with rye, it would reduce our yield. So it was kind of a triple whammy again of the cost, the machine cost, however you put it on, seed cost, and then a yield reduction. So hopefully we're going to get a lot closer now.
Well, you've made some strides, obviously, already. What are you looking forward to trying this year particularly?
Well, it was the strip crops and this new idea with the 2 rows of cover crops on top of the ridge. And we're still struggling with nutrient uptake in the ridges. So with PFI cooperators, we've tried liquid starters and dry starters and deep banding, and we need some more trials. We have some, but we need some more to see if that will give us some direction of where to go, how to get additional fertilizer on ridges.
How do you decide which fields are going to be put into trials, into test plots?
Well, really, as far as our row crops, they're all in plots, so we don't have to decide. We just
the entire farm then?
Yes. That's in row crops. See, we'll have, that's about 3/5, 2/5 of it would be in the oats and in the hay, and in that time we let these plots rest, and hopefully it will balance out the difference in treatment, so when we come back with 3 years we can put in new trials that won't be influenced by these trials, previous trials.
Do you feel like you've inspired any of your neighbors close by to change their farming practices?
It's usually the closer the slower. And I think that's just a social problem. People do not listen to the people that they're closest to.
Mm-hmm.
Father, son, I know it well. I'm speaking this son to my father. I'm not going to put words in somebody else's mouth on that.
I understand.
But that is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it is starting to come locally here with
Mm-hmm.
changes into ridgetill. Further away, there's much going on. We're starting to see grandchildren in the movement, so to speak, that we know of people who have picked up ideas here and started. Now we know of people who have picked up ideas again, so I call that grandchildren.
Yes, yes, another generation
Yes,
practically.
so things are, we'd like to see it happen a little faster, but it's coming along. And we want people to take it slow and do it right.
I have read and heard that that's one of the big pieces of advice to hear and to accept is that you shouldn't try to do it fast.
Right, and that way, because if somebody does it wrong, everybody always notices the time that you make the mistake.
Yes, what is it about human nature that
Yes.
we do that?
And then they'll never see it 3 months later when it turned out okay. They always remember the negative, and that's the way it is, and that's what we have to deal with it. And so we go on from there.
Yes. What do you do about pests? Big pests, little pests, not just researchers who are coming around?
Really, that has not been a serious problem, and I can't really document or explain that completely. But the best try at that is with the use of rotations and with the use of manure has some balancing act to kind of keep things, everything in balance. And that no way am I saying that we don't have any pests, but there haven't been any crisis. One example, in 1988, in the drought years, and the spider mites, that the spider mites actually came out of our pasture and went into a neighbor's soybean field on the right. And there was a soybean field of our own on the left that they didn't seem to bother. Now, and I don't understand all this either.
No.
But it seemed like in this other field where there was compaction of turning is where the spider mites killed those beans first. So that field was sprayed. Well, on the, I don't know if we can make this all follow through, but on the other side of that field we had another soybean field. And the neighbors sprayed all their fields around here with airplanes for spider mites, and we didn't spray the fields. So there is something to do with balance, fertility, and that helps, you know, if the person's healthier, we get by maybe without catching every cold that comes along, and if the animal has more resistance, so there's resistance in plants. The interesting thing in this third field, that we had a plot in there where we didn't have any potassium on. And out in the middle of that is where we had a spot where the spider mites were working. And
So it was out of balance.
right, and it wasn't as healthy. And we could see that there were more weeds in that field. The beans didn't grow as fast, and so there were spider mites. So, and so we needed some potassium, see. So when you need some, you have to put it on some way or another to get things in balance and get the health in the soil, to get the health in the crop, and to make that all work together. So back to where we started, really the pest issue, the insect diseases, has not been the big problem.